Alright, people, so it's being reported that Billy Joe Saunders he's got to return to the ring apparently this year. Now, Billy Joe Saunders, it's now been 2 years, 2 whole years since that Canelo fight. Barely really seen much of Billy Joe Saunders. He's only really came out and, said things when people like Chris Eubank Jr. have taken losses and stuff like that. He's been pretty quiet now over the last 2 years. When we have seen pictures of him and images of him, oh boy, he is not looking good. He is looking way out of shape, and in one sense that's nothing new for Billy Joe. He's been known to do that over the years. It's been documented a few times that he's blown up to as high as 15 stone, 15 and a half stone. Famously before he fought his name escapes me, was it Akabov, who he fought in that leisure centre back in 2016, actually he was meant to fight in Canelo's undercard in September, but apparently couldn't make weight, and he was something like 210 pounds at the start of camp, or 200 pounds thereabouts, and he had to find a way to get back down to 160. So he's done that over the years, but now 2 years out of the ring, oh boy, that's going to be tricky to get that weight off. And in terms of how he's going to probably look, not necessarily just aesthetically, in terms of physically, 2 years of inactivity. He'd been fairly inactive over the last few years prior to that, So I can't imagine Billy Joe was going to be looking the best. Now, Billy Joe is still in his early-ish 30s, but it's not even that he's had a hard career in terms of the abuse he's taken in the ring. It's more so what he's done to his body outside the ring, between the ballooning and weight, drinking alcohol amongst other things. So I'd say Billy Joe, when he does come back, it depends what he's really targeting, really. Like, he'll probably have to take an easy comeback fight, and we'll really be able to gauge where he's at. Now, I think we're going to see a shell of himself, really. I think he's going to be an absolute shell of himself, but it depends on what he's looking to do. Is he looking to come back and have a run at 168? Because middleweight ain't going to happen. That's just not going to happen. And even 168 might be a bit of a push, but let's just say he comes back at 168. Well, he's already lost to Canelo. He was competitive in that fight, no doubt, but we all saw what happened in that fight. So is he going for a world title, or is he just looking to make another payday? Because it's been 2 years since the Canelo payday. He got a couple of mil for that, and maybe he feels like, I need to top up the old treasury. So that, for me, is the question. What is he looking to do? Now, if he's looking to do a run at a world title, well, as I said, it's not going to particularly go well, even if Canelo vacates a couple of those titles. You've got people like Dave Benavidez, Danny Morrell, people like that. I would have picked him at one point, probably over Caleb Plant, but now, nah. Now, if you're looking for a money fight, well, Chris Eubank Jr. is obviously going in there to rematch Liam Smith. Now, apparently that fight's been pushed back by a couple of weeks. Was meant to take place on June the 17th. Not going to happen on June the 17th. Probably going to happen some point in July. The reason being, Liam Smith has apparently picked up an injury in training camp. Not a massively serious injury, but serious enough to just sideline the fight for a couple of weeks. Fair enough. Now, Chris Eubank Jr. going into that fight, he's a slight underdog with the bookies. I can certainly see how he can win the fight, but given how the first fight went, I'm probably going to make Liam Smith the favourite. Now, you're Billy Joe Saunders. You have a choice there. Could you get Liam Smith? Could you tempt him up to 168 pounds if he wins for a fight? Potentially. However, if Billy Joe Saunders has a comeback fight, doesn't look good, maybe at that point it might be actually best to just do the Eubank rematch. And for Eubank as well, like if he loses to Liam Smith, where else is he going to go? The Conor Benn fight probably will still be there, probably. But if you're coming off the back losses, it's probably not going to have the same interest as it did. Certainly not that before the first Liam Smith fight. But Billy Joe Saunders, both guys at the end of their careers, having beef from many, many years ago, and obviously having that fight in 2014, it might still generate some revenue. I think that if you had done this fight pre-Liam Smith, and Billy Joe Saunders had fought last year, you might have got away with putting this on pay-per-view. Seriously, you might have got away with it. Now, Definitely not. However, it will probably still make both guys a bit of money because both guys have a needle. They have needle with each other. They don't particularly seem to like one another. They both are reasonably good at, trash talking the other guy. So I think it might just generate enough public interest to be financially viable for both fighters. Because realistically, if Eubank loses to Liam Smith, where else is he what is he going to do? There's literally nothing other than potentially try and get a Conor Benn fight and try and get a Billy Joe Saunders fight if he's coming back. And for Billy Joe Saunders, what is he going to do? I mean, no one is envisioning him having a run at 168 pounds and being a contender / champion again. I just can't see it. The weight gain, the 2 years out of the ring, everything else, it's just, he's going to be a shell of himself. And who's going to train him? Ben Davison? Dominic Ingle? There was a rumour going around last year, I remember the Sheffield Post posted it, that Billy Joe Saunders was meant to be back training with Dominic Ingle. This was maybe June, July last year, to which Billy Joe Saunders' team flat out denied and actually claimed he was retired. So, going from apparently being retired to coming back this year, yeah, let's see how that works. So, I'll leave it there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. For now, lads and lassies, I will talk to you. Peace.